Cotard syndrome, the living dead, when the mind declares you dead. Imagine waking up one day convinced you no longer exist. You're certain your organs are rotting or your soul has departed. Sound like a horror story? For those with Cotard syndrome, also known as walking corpse syndrome, this bone-chilling delusion is their grim reality. A condition as rare as it is terrifying, Cotard's syndrome drags its sufferers into a mental abyss where life loses its meaning. The eerie twist. Science struggles to fully understand why. How does a living, breathing body become host to a mind convinced it's dead? Named after Dr. Jules Cotard, who first identified the syndrome in 1882, Cotard's delusion sits at the intersection of horror and science. Patients afflicted by this mental illness may declare shocking things. They've lost their blood, their organs, or even their very soul. They believe they are, quite literally, the living dead. One woman, Mademoiselle X, believed she had no brain and no chest. She abandoned eating, insisting her body no longer required sustenance. The mind's power to warp perception, turning life into death, is both fascinating and deeply terrifying. Real-life cases of Cotard syndrome paint a picture of pure psychological horror. Take Graham, a man who approached doctors with an unshakable belief. His brain was dead. He refused to eat, bathe, or engage with life, sure his body was merely a corpse wasting away. In one infamous case, a man roamed a cemetery obsessively, convinced he belonged there among the dead. These stories blur the line between psychological torment and supernatural dread, leaving us haunted by the fragility of the human mind. The roots of Cotard syndrome lie in a mix of mental illness and brain dysfunction. It's frequently linked to conditions like severe depression, schizophrenia, and neurological damage, particularly in regions controlling self-awareness and emotion. When the brain malfunctions, it can shatter the very essence of identity. Some scientists speculate that Cotard's delusion emerges from misfiring connections in the brain, akin to other rare conditions like Capgras syndrome, where individuals mistake loved ones for imposters. The mind, in its intricate complexity, can sometimes become its own worst enemy. Though it may sound like a curse straight out of a gothic horror tale, Cotard syndrome is treatable, with difficulty. Medical intervention often involves a combination of antidepressants, antipsychotics, or electroconvulsive therapy. Yet, the road to recovery can be long and uncertain. The lucky ones who've overcome the syndrome describe the experience as stepping out of their graves, shaking off the shadow of death. Their survival stories shine a fragile, hopeful light on a condition that otherwise feels steeped in darkness. Cotard syndrome reminds us how dangerously thin the veil separating the real from the surreal can be. For sufferers, it's like stepping into a nightmare they can't escape, a haunting experience that transforms the ordinary into the macabre. For horror enthusiasts, the syndrome raises unnerving questions. What defines life and death? Can the mind's perception override physical reality? These questions chill us to the bone, lurking in that eerie space where science and horror collide. Thankfully, Cotard syndrome is exceptionally rare, but the thought alone sends shivers down the spine. The idea that your own mind could imprison you in such a grim delusion sparks the kind of existential dread that magnifies the condition's mysterious intrigue. It's the ultimate fear, losing touch with reality itself. As we explore such conditions, we're reminded of the fragility of the human psyche. What safeguards our sense of self? And what happens if those safeguards fail? Such questions are both unsettling and compelling, keeping us up late, staring into the abyss of our own minds. Cotard syndrome isn't just a medical puzzle. It's a dark, otherworldly enigma, a living nightmare that forces us to confront humanity's deepest fears. The thin boundary between life and death, reality and illusion, takes on a spine-chilling new meaning in this macabre condition. If you crave more unsettling stories that straddle the line between science and the supernatural, subscribe and continue exploring life's darkest mysteries with us. Like, comment, and share your thoughts. Have you ever felt disconnected from your own body or reality? Share below. Dare to keep exploring.